let's talk about the socratics. Pasok intro! So hello, welcome again sa isa pang philosophy with Zur. So we're going to talk about Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, the famous and greatest ancient Greek philosophers that shaped what philosophy is today. We're going to talk about their philosophies and their contributions to Western philosophy. Let's talk about Socrates first. So Socrates is regarded as the greatest philosopher, the greatest thinkers of Greek philosophy in the ancient Greek period. Yun yung sinabi sa kanya sa Oracle of Delphi, na sinabi sa kanya na siya yung greatest philosopher. His response to the Oracle of Delphi was, I only know one thing, and that is I know nothing. Yon. In acknowledging that you know nothing, that you know only a glimpse of the world, that makes you the greatest thinker, the greatest philosopher. Kasi you're still curious about the world, and you admit that you have only a glimpse of the world around us. Because the universe is very vast, and knowledge and things around us, we cannot fully understand them. So, sinabi ni Socrates, I know nothing because we cannot really know everything. We cannot really know everything because the universe is vast and the knowledge is vast, and it takes time to know everything. Ayan. One of his titles was the Gadfly of Athens kasi literally he bugs the politicians kasi parang he's critiquing politicians with his philosophies, ganun. And that's the cause, that has been the cause of his death. So, in critiquing the way that politicians think, in critiquing the way that politicians lead, that became his eventual downfall. Kasi, ayaw yun ng mga politicians, ayaw ng mga politicians sa Socrates. Ang ginawa nila to Socrates, they condemned him to death by hemlock. What is hemlock? Poison, ganon. Because they wanted to protect their image, they wanted to get rid of Socrates completely and all of his thought processes. Ganon. His philosophies are described in his Socratic dialogues. Wala siyang written works whatsoever. He had no written works, and the only things that remind us of Socrates and his thought processes and his philosophies are his Socratic dialogues written by his students. Mostly by Plato. And Plato's works are mostly Socratic dialogues. So Socratic dialogues meaning Socrates and meron siyang ka-debate na isa pang tao, mainly a sophist. A sophist naman is parang a scholar na gifted in communication pero hindi maganda yung mga ideas nila. So, Socrates in his Socratic dialogues is parang battling or debating with a sophist in order to shatter their perceptions, to shatter their thought processes, to make a true and authentic philosophy, surface. Ganon. And in his Socratic dialogues, he employed this sort of Socratic method. The Socratic dialogue is like this. Tatanong ka, and then kapag sinagot ka, tatanungin mo siya ulit. Then pag sinagot ka, tatanungin mo siya ulit, and it goes. In that series of questions, when flaws surface, when flaws are found in the argument, they find ways to seek the truth. Ayun. When flaws surface in arguments, Socrates and his companion find the way to resolve these flaws, to make another argument or to find the truth to pursue the truth in their true philosophy. Ayun. So that is the main contribution of Socrates to philosophy. That is the Socratic method and his dialogues. One of the most prominent authors of the Socratic dialogues was his student Plato. Siya yung sumulat ng mga philosophies ni Socrates through the Socratic dialogue. So, una dyan yung ever famous Allegory of the Cave sa Republic, Book 7. Allegory of the Cave is a story about three prisoners in a cave and they try and a prisoner escapes finding the truth, ganun. So I will discuss that later. So it is, the Allegory of the Cave is a lesson on epistemology and finding the truth and finding the authentic truth through philosophy. So, ayun. In his Socratic dialogue, Plato in his Socratic dialogues also made mention of his, of this ideal government. He wanted the government to be a monarchy. He was not so much a democratic person. Hindi siya democratic. Silang dalawa ni Socrates, hindi sila democratic. So he devised an ideal government with parang a caste system. So peasants are at the bottom and the peasants will serve the people, will serve the higher monarch, ganun. The peasants will farm, will do agriculture, whatsoever. He will do the work, ganun. And then the soldiers, the next tier, they would protect. Sila yung magpo-protect sa kingdom. Sa Greece, ganun. And the monarch will be a philosopher. The monarch must be a philosopher kasi siya yung may alam sa mga bagay-bagay sa mundo and he's very, very wise. Ganun. He does not like democracy and wants a monarchy to be established in order for a power to be concentrated on one single person. So, it cannot be applied today because medyo medyo complex na yung society natin. Unlike dati na hindi pa masyadong complex yung society, yung civilization nila, and it can work sa kanila. Pero sa atin, hindi. So, let's leave it at that. So, next is, he wanted to differentiate the difference between episteme and doxa. So, episteme, meaning the truth, yon, and doxa is popular opinion. So, sabi ni Plato, dapat hindi tayo mag-dwell sa popular opinion. Dapat we must find the truth in our own ways using virtues and basically philosophy. So, ayun. And then, sabi nga, so, he is also known for his notion of the human person that separate ang soul sa body. And sabi niya na, the body is the tomb of the soul kasi the body is parang a limit for the soul to reach its full potential. The soul is immortal and perfect while the body is mortal and perfect. So, kapag namatay yung body, the soul is separated and unlocks its full potential. Parang ganun. The last one of Plato's famous philosophies is the theory of forms. There is a world of forms na sinasabi ni Plato where there are things that we cannot see. Yun, yung world of forms. Yun yung world of forms like emotions, ideals, mostly ideas kasi in the world of forms, everything in the world of forms is perfect. There's an ideal tree, ideal YouTube video, ideal bed, ideal person to fall in love with. Ganon. And this world, the visible world, is patterned after the world of forms. Our bed is a copy of the perfect bed sa world of forms. Our tree is a copy of a perfect tree. So will the forms are the person, the human person is a copy of a perfect person in the world of forms. So world of forms, parang yun yung parang full potential ng lahat. Yun yung full potential ng lahat, and parang it's a blueprint that we should follow in order to achieve our ideals, in order to achieve perfection. So next philosopher is Aristotle. His philosophies are different from those of Plato and Socrates, for that matter. For one, si Aristotle, for example, his idea of the human person is not the body is not separate from the soul. His idea of the human person is the body is the soul is incorporated into the body. So yun yung tinatawag niyang embodied spirit. Aristotle has a few differences with Plato's philosophies, but his thought processes are still as important today. Aristotle, hindi siya masyadong nagsulat ng Socratic dialogues. He had his own writings. Okay? He had his own writings, and one of his writings was the first philosophy of Plato. Aristotle, metaphysics. Is a discussion of the world beyond the physical realm. Ganon. Kasi metaphysics. So, meta means beyond, and physical, means physical. So, it is beyond the physical realm. So, he has the idea of, number one, the four causes. So, the four causes, the material, formal, final, and efficient causes. The material cause is parang the material itself. Kunwari, tao ako, I am made of skin, I am made of bone, gano'n. Formal, it is the essence of a person. So, the essence, what makes me human. The humanness of a human, gano'n. Final is the purpose. So, what is my purpose? What is the purpose of the human person? And the efficient cause is the maker. Who made me? Who made this human person? He also had this doctrine called the doctrine of act and potency. Actuality, or the act, is what we are today. So, what am I today? A vlogger, a channel maker, teacher, sort of, ganun. And the potency is your potentiality. So, kunwari, I decide one of my potencies or one of my potentialities is to become a philosopher. It is what I can be in the future. Okay? Pag nilalang na tayo sa mundo, we are under the doctrine of act and potency. You have an actuality, kung sino ka man ngayon, and a potentiality, who you can be in the future. You know? So, he has also the idea of eudaimonia, which is happiness. So, happiness, yun nga yung parang peak. Parang nirvana siya sa Buddhism, pero iniba lang yung tawag kasi Western philosophy to. So, parang happiness is the peak of your existence, ganun. And it can only be achieved through virtue. And virtue can only be made through the golden mean, through moderation. The golden mean is simply this. You want to concentrate on working on your courage. Too much courage would lead to recklessness. Masyado kang reckless all over the place kasi masyado kang confident, masyado kang courageous. And too little naman of courage would lead to cowardice. Maduduwag ka, hindi mo na magagawa yung dapat mong gawin. Ganon. Kailangan nasa middle ground ka in order to build courage in the best way possible. So, you have to build courage in moderation, build every virtue in moderation, or do everything in moderation. That is what Aristotle is wanting to say to you in order to reach eudaimonia, which is happiness. So you do moderation in your life and you'll be happy. Bakit ba natin kailangan pag-aralin itong mga matatandang to? Kasi kailangan. Hindi, pero later on, you will find out that they will change the shape of philosophy in the Western philosophy, ganun. Lalo na sa metaphysics, there will be many developed philosophies sa metaphysics that came from the Greeks. So that is it for today. I hope you learned so much sa mga Greeks. Ayun. So next lesson, we will talk about the allegory of the cave ni Plato. So I'll see you next time!